The General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, has sparked intense debate after defending President Bola Tinubu against criticism over Nigerians' worsening insecurity. Speaking at the U.S. Nigerian Faith Heroes Award Gala organized by the Save Nigerian Group in Washington on 23rd of June 2026, the respected cleric declared that the president had done his bit by issuing directives and should not be expected to put on khaki and fight bandits. Akahi News gathered that Pastor Adeboye drew a comparison with United States President Donald Trump, arguing that commanders-in-chief issue orders while security institutions execute them. When my friend Trump gives instruction to go and bomb anywhere, he doesn't leave the White House. He has done his bid. I hereby command bomb Iran, and then he goes to his bedroom and sleep. The cleric acknowledged, however, that insecurity has gone far worse and that terrorism and kidnapping have spread from northern Nigeria to the south, now even at my doorstep. Akahi News understands that Pastor Adeboye disclosed private discussion with President Tinubu and First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, during which he advised the president to issue a 90-day ultimatum to military commanders: wipe out this rubbish or resign. He also urged authorities to go after sponsors of terrorism, describing them as businessmen and politicians who are all known and they are still moving about freely. Akahi News can report that the cleric's comments have drawn sharp reactions, including from social media activist Very Dark Man, who accused Pastor Adeboye of turning blind eye because Tinubu is now president, recalling that the cleric had publicly protested insecurity under previous administration. The controversy raises fundamental questions about how Nigerian defines leadership accountability and whether issuing orders is sufficient when those orders manifestly failed to produce results. What exactly has changed following this report? The Khaki argument and its limitations. Pastor Adeboye's central claim that presidents issue orders and should not be expected to fight on the front lines is constitutionally sound but analytically shallow. The criticism of President Tinubu has never been that he is not physically present on battlefields. It is that insecurity has demonstrably worsened under his watch despite his directives. The cleric's framing deflects legitimate scrutiny of the commander-in-chief's primary responsibility, ensuring that orders are effectively executed. A leader who issues orders that are routinely disobeyed or fail to achieve objectives has not done his bit. He has failed in his duty of command. The Trump comparison, a flawed analogy. Pastor Adeboye's reference to President Trump's military orders ignores crucial distinctions. The United States possesses professional military apparatus with proven operational capacity. When Trump orders strikes, they were executed effectively. In Nigeria, the question is not whether Tinubu has given orders, but whether those orders are being implemented, whether the security architecture is functional, and whether the president is holding military commanders accountable for persistent failures. The analogy collapses under the weight of Nigeria's institutional dysfunction. Admitting the problem while excusing the leader. Pastor Adeboye's juxtaposition is striking and deeply problematic. On one hand, he acknowledged that terrorism is at my doorstep, that sponsors are all known and moving about freely, and that conditions are far worse. Yet, he simultaneously absolved the president of responsibility. This internal contradiction exposes the tension between pastoral diplomacy and prophetic candor. A leader cannot be credited for issuing directives while simultaneously presiding over a deteriorating security situation without being held accountable for the deterioration. The 90-day ultimatum, acknowledging the real problem. Pastor Adeboye's private advice to the president to issue military commanders a 90-day ultimatum or demand their resignation implicitly conceals the inadequacy of the current approach. If military commanders need a deadline to be effective, it means they are not currently effective. If they are not effective, the commander-in-chief bears responsibility for their performance. The cleric's recommendation, while practical, undermines his defense of the president by identifying the very failure, operational incapacity, and lack of accountability that critics have been highlighting. Spiritual leadership and political commentary. Pastor Adeboye's intervention reflects the complex role of religious leaders in Nigeria's public square. As the head of one of Africa's largest Pentecostal churches, his words carry immense weight. His defense of the president, delivered on an international stage, may be interpreted as either a genuine assessment or a political endorsement colored by personal ties. He once referred to Tinubu as his in-law. This raises ethical questions about whether spiritual leaders should offer uncritical support to political figures, particularly when the evidence of failure is so stark. Public reaction and the credibility gap. The backlash from activists like Very Dark Man highlights a credibility gap that religious leaders risk when their public statements appear inconsistent with past position or detached from lived realities. The accusation that Pastor Adeboye changed his stance because Tinubu is president speaks to a broader public perception that spiritual leaders apply different standards depending on who occupies power. This perception, whether fair or not, undermines the moral authority that clerics traditionally wield in Nigerian society. Akahi News recommends the following based on this report. 1. The presidency should move beyond issuing directives to ensuring effective implementation, holding military commanders accountable through transparent performance metrics and consequences for failure. Number 2, the National Assembly should exercise its oversight function by summoning security chiefs to account for the worsening security situation and demanding concrete action. Number 3, the security agencies should prioritize intelligence-led operations, targeting the sponsors and financiers of terrorism whose identities are reportedly known to authorities. Number 4, the government should establish a clear timeline for measurable security improvements and communicate progress to Nigerians transparently. Number 5, religious leaders should maintain prophetic independence, speaking truth to power without allowing personal or political ties to compromise their moral authority. Number 6, citizens should continue to demand accountability from all levels of government, recognizing that silence and uncritical support perpetuate the very failures that endanger lives. Thank you for joining me. I am Joseph Iyaji.